Some people you may have heard of who were homeless in their lifetimes: John Drew Barrymore, Halle Berry, Jim Carrey, Charlie Chaplin, Kelly Clarkson, Kurt Cobain, Ella Fitzgerald, Kelsey Grammer, Cary Grant, Harry Houdini, David Letterman, Jim Morrison, Debbie Reynolds, Harlan Colonel Sanders, William Shatner, and Martin Sheen. The most frequently asked question when people find out I'm homeless is, "Aren't you scared?" The short answer is no. I'm not afraid of spiders, snakes, rats, possums, mosquitoes, or other wildlife. I'm not afraid of other homeless people. Most of them are my friends. I have no enemies on the streets of Hayward that I know of. But that's not the whole truth. There is one thing I'm afraid of on the streets of Hayward: the police. If I see a horrendous crime near my camp, I'm hesitant to report it, because the police may want to know where I was and what I was doing there. If they find out I'm camping, they may show up in the middle of the night and give me between 10 and 30 minutes to pack up and leave, stating that everything I leave behind will be thrown in the garbage. They may show up when I'm not there and take everything I own and haul it off and throw it away. They did this to a friend of mine. They even took his diabetes medication and his glucose tester. Does everybody here know the effects of untreated diabetes? They may show up when I'm not there and cut up my tent and my bedding, throwing the rest of my property around. This has happened to 4 people that I know of. This is something we should all fear. You take somebody's tent and bedding and a storm comes in from the Gulf of Alaska. That person can't stay dry and can't stay warm, and he or she dies of hypothermia. That hasn't happened yet that I know of. But I don't think the justification that he/she/they were trespassing is going to fly. On June 6, 2008, U.S. District Judge Oliver W. Wanger gave a preliminary approval to a $2.35 million class action suit between hundreds of homeless people and the City of Fresno and the California Department of Transportation. The name of the suit is Kincaid versus Fresno, and it requires, among other things, that it be posted for 3 days that a camp is going to be raided, and additionally that anything of apparent value be stored for 90 days before disposal. Because this settlement occurred in federal court, it A, applies all over the country, and B, can only be overturned by a federal appellate court. The police agencies in the Hayward area, and apparently the officials they take their orders from, have not been following this precedent. If I could talk to the elected officials of the City of Fresno and the decision makers at California Department of Transportation, I would ask them, how many children can you educate for $2.35 million? How many gang task force members can you train and equip for $2.35 million? How many potholes can you fill in for $2.35 million? I think all these things are far, far more important than eradicating the homeless from our community. In recovery, we say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I don't know of even one homeless person who has left the streets or left the area because their property has been stolen or destroyed. The police and those who they take their orders from are very quick to tell us, you can't stay here. But to my knowledge, they have never said, you can stay there. When I met with law enforcement, they shared the same observation. There are people that feel that having a place for homeless people to stay would be, quote, condoning the lifestyle, unquote. In Canada, they have debtors' prisons where people in financial trouble can stay until they can get back on their feet. Condoning the lifestyle does not seem to be the case there. What we're doing about homelessness and several other of our society's problems isn't working, and I believe it's time to do something else. Someone once said, those who can't remember the past are condemned to repeat it. We as a society should have learned a long time ago that people are too expensive to throw away. Why don't you try giving us a place to be and see what we do with it?